Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Chrissy Sawyer here. Okay, the week isn't over and the energies are phenomenal. Huge change, huge change. And yeah, some weird spatial stuff which I can feel ramping today. Just looking at the clock, it's 10:10. So some of you may have experienced a really colossal shift. I've certainly had the privilege of witnessing and facilitating in some of my client work this week, huge activations, and I'm no exception in that. Mine happened on Tuesday. So yeah, oh gosh, there's so much happening. I want to have a conversation with Pluto at some point because I've been deliberately tuning into Pluto all week, and Pluto seems to be transcending his archetype, as everything is at the moment. Put a question mark on most old belief systems where we've applied stereotypical archetypes. Pluto feels gorgeous. So yeah, we've got this Pluto dancing with the galactic center today or tomorrow, depending where you are in the world. And yeah, it's feeling gorgeous. But obviously all of this and whatever I bring you today is going to depend on where you are on your journey. And what I'm tapping into is, well, the energy is going to ramp next week. That's what I want to speak into now. And so this staying with it, you remember in the last reading, I said, stay with it, push through, then stay with it, push through. Because great change doesn't come without great disruption. And chaos is the architect of change. It's directly relative to our willingness to dance in chaos. All right, let's bring you some dates for your diary for next week. So another big week next week, February the 13th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. We have Mars and Venus conjunct in Capricorn. That is going to change everything we know about love, polarity, distance, closeness, vulnerability. It's going to revolutionize relationships because it's happening in Capricorn. So you're literally going to feel it in the body. You're literally going to see it in the structures that surround you. You might see it in your home, definitely in relationships, workplace, intimate, family. It's nothing it's not going to touch. Okay, so Mars and Venus conjunct in Capricorn on February the 13th. And they are going to be moving together for about a month, I think, about 3 weeks to a month. So stay with it. If you want to elevate your relationships, revolutionize your relationships. So they will continue together. They'll move into Aquarius on March the 6th, 7th. So they're moving from this fixed earth, Capricorn, into Aquarius, this higher mind, collective consciousness, the group thinking, or the higher mind of the group thinking. And then on February the 16th, we have the Leo full moon, which is happening in, Leo, sorry. Part of my mind is wandering out and away. Okay, so Leo full moon and the sun moving into Aquarius. Now this Leo full moon, sun in Aqua, is going to square the nodes. So it's squaring destiny points, okay, of the past and the future. It's going to bring a deep choice point, something deep in the psyche rising up. And I've captured a few words that came to me as I was making notes. Questions. How does love move through me? How do I express love in the world? How does love terrify me, rebirth me, expand and uplift me? Okay. More words. It's looking like a relationship revolution, evolution into a collective vulnerability. Vulnerability with self and with other. And do we let our guard down and be vulnerable in this deeper meeting of spirit, light and matter? Or do we stay in the mind and talk about love and win the point? Because what it's basically going to do is going to dissolve the part of the mind that thinks it can negotiate love. It's going to pull love back into the body, into the viscera, into the experience, the feelings and the emotions, into the soma. And then I was reflecting on the work that I've done with couples over the last long time and suggesting to couples work like eye gazing and heart calibrating and watching how that shocks their system, that they've made this lifelong commitment to one another under the guise of the vows of marriage, and they can't eye gaze with each other. And they can't let their needs and their narrative just be quiet for a moment as they move to that deeper connection where there are no words, where there's just that deep felt recalibrating connection. Because when two energies are in vicinity, scientifically, what happens is the heart calibrates. So the heart comes into empathy and alignment. That happens naturally. But when we fill spaces with words, we interrupt that process, and it's such a natural process. If we could just meet in silence and give our bodies a moment to tune into one another, it would deeply enrich our relationships without really having to do anything. It's just allowing, it's this allowing energy. So stop talking and just feel. Let the words fall away and the ego will soon follow, and so too might clothing. That was my final thought. And so I want to read into Mars and Venus, and I want to see what the conversation is in their narratives and what changes we might expect. And what's coming out on one of the sides, I'll read into it, is going to speak straight to one of my readers. I'm going to try and pronounce your fabulous YouTube title. Cameronisa Mortlock. Cameronisa Mortlock. You asked me a question in your last comment, and inadvertently the field is feeding you. Okay, I had no intention to speak specifically on this, but it's come out in the readings. So I hope this answers your curiosity, but let's see. Okay. So I've gone to an uber feminine deck, the White Light Oracle, and I've gone to a more masculine deck, the Thoth Tarot, to read into the masculine and the feminine. And what's come out has really surprised me. So first card out is for the masculine Mars. And I noticed a lot of stuff in this card, and I read tarot intuitively, so I have no idea what the Prince of Wands means. But a prince to me is in learning phase. He hasn't mastered his kingship, nor mastered his emperorship in mastery of all four kings. So the prince is school, learning, open-minded. Wands is passion, fire. And what I really saw in this is actually the androgyny of this central figure. It's woman and man, very feminine up here, typically masculine here. And there's a Chariot in this card. And we have Leo in this card. I can't make this up. Wow, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And all this orange energy. We've got the gold and the orange of the solar plexus and the center of will, and the orange of the sacral and the place of passion. The belly is this passion, it's creative sexuality. So we've got the masculine Mars riding in on the Chariot, bringing Leo in to shine a new light on the conversation. And here's the conversation. So then for the masculine, I've pulled some archetypes to see what he wants to talk about. So when I look at these two cards together, what I get is kind of a service to the feminine. So in wow. So it's the difference between serving his passion and serving hers. The delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. That energy on its own is going to revolutionize how we interact with one another. And this can be on any level. It can definitely be in intimate relationships. And what's coming through here is, I'm going to put it on the radar. I think people coming into union is going to start happening. It's never felt so strong. So I feel very secure in bringing that to you. You know, I don't read for him and her, or she and she, or he and he. I don't read for 3D relationships, but it's loud and proud here on the table. Still with the masculine. Nature, life force, sensuality. Rather than one bam. Thank you, ma'am. Conquest. This is much deeper, much, much deeper, passionate connection. And I'm going to read this one in reverse because that's how it came out, and the energy certainly fits. So the shadow aspect of this masculine is negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. And the ulterior motive in the masculine can often be about what he daren't say, can often be about suppressing feelings and just going for that 3D shallow visual, I fancy that, or pretending to be helpful or in service, but behind that is personal agenda. And the way that that exists nudges the feminine into a certain kind of reaction to that. So that's a big dynamic change big, big dynamic change. And then I wanted to know what question he was coming into. It's one around self-reflection. What happens when I say that back to myself? So that's personal accountability and responsibility, transparency, self-ownership. It's powerful masculine energy. Okay. I'm going to hop over to the feminine, and then I'm going to read between the two. Now, before you came to camera, I'm parched. I think my body is still in process from what happened on Tuesday. Before I came to camera, I shuffle every deck. I cut it 3 times and then I shuffle every deck. And out has come a card that has come out to do an initiation for a client this week. So it's in the collective, right? This card is about divine unity. It is about initiation and awakening to spiritual love, to a love that is felt and expressed rather than thought about, talked about, dressed up in pretty clothes and fed expensive food about. Transcends normal relationships. And this is intimate love. And it's about the feminine coming into surrender with the masculine and discovering a new kind of power in that. He will find the power of service in that. And I've said this for years, you know, when the masculine can come in and hold the feminine, her action in that is she's brave enough to surrender into that, and it's happening now. Okay. So that's the feminine. Now, Kamaranissa, listen. The archetypes that she's working with. This is speaking into over-giving and under-receiving in the feminine. It's speaking into the feminine that gives to be valuable, to be valued. The feminine that heals and takes care of, and that's it, heals and takes care of. And as I tune into that energy, there's a great big lump right at the bottom of my throat. So there's a suppression in there, a suppression of the real truth. The real truth might be, fuck you. So if you imagine when intimate relationships can get right down to that level, we've got Pluto at the galactic center. We've got this Hadean energy. Pluto rules Scorpio. It's the deepest depths that you can go to. The deepest love that you can express, where it's okay to be everything in this loving space. You start to transcend the tidiness of what looks like a traditional relationship. Tradition's out the window. All this is happening. There's like four major planets in Capricorn, I think, at the moment. It's all happening in this Capricornian structure around ambition and, it's horrible. I'm suddenly surrounded by skyscrapers, ambition and tenacity and resistance to change. But Capricorn also has internal power. If you watch a goat will jump to break the rubble. It can break the rubble. So the goat is transcending as well, to break the rubble of this Capricornian thing that we've created, where love isn't. It's lust, it's fantasy, it's illusion. All of that is going to get broken down. So the feminine will know when something is draining her energy, and she will know that she's doing that to herself. So that might feel sickness in the throat, the shame of what the feminine has done to herself. And in that, there's a sublime message, maybe, underneath, that she's coming into willingness to surrender. And in the shadow aspect of the vampire is complaining and codependency. And I was reflecting this morning on, I think I said 3 videos ago, I think I've been spiritually exhausted since I landed on this planet, and that's gone. What I was tuning into was Venus. I forgot to follow up on it when I was journaling. It's the exhaustion of Venus. It's the exhaustion of, I'm going to put it in terms of the woman who has been a single parent for thousands of years. Every time he goes to war and gets dead, she has been looking after the hearth and home for thousands of years, since the first war. That's a, wow. I mean, that's in the DNA. So she hasn't had that masculine energy around her to support her. She's done it all. And what that's done is that's taken the feminine heavily into her masculine. So we have these over masculinated women. And more, it's going to get challenged. These heavy energies that she's bringing in, they're profound. It's like he's picking up the slack now. If he's in service energy, goddess energy, mediator energy, so cutting down his ulterior motive, I'll help you if it leads to sex. I'll give you a massage if it leads to sex. I'm generalizing. So saboteur is self-explanatory. It's the woman who's, you know, who's so deeply into her complaining that she forgets to see what she's already created, forgets to see how bloody awesome she is. And when it doesn't go her way, can sabotage. Now, both can do this. And I am traditionalizing with men and women, because the conversation would be too long if I involved the whole community. I'm talking principally about energies, but can you see it's transposing straight onto men and women, and how we're going to act with one another. And in a gay relationship, there tends to be one who presents in feminine energy and one who presents in masculine energy, even if it's same sex, makes no difference. So she's looking at the self-destructive behavior of playing it small to draw in the support, or of manipulating. And there's a question in here about rage. And finding, ooh, lovely. Thank you. Finding an intimate way to express rage. So in its shadow, it's a fear of facing your own demons. Now, the recent chat I did with Mike DuPont when we broke Zoom, because I brought demons in right at the very end, I was talking about the client work that I do with demons, and most of the soldiers that I've worked with, I do a lot of work with the military. Kind of one of their stock responses on how you're doing is, oh, you know, still fighting my demons. Well, that's you're fighting. So So the belly of my work is very Jungian, very Jungian. So it works with shadow aspects of self. My soul work works with connections. And when we align the soul as a switchboard, that's how I see it, a switchboard, to the non-physical realms. When we unite the soul with the rejected aspect of self, it can literally come home through the metaphysical back into the physical to be integrated. Demons are an aspect of ourself that got rejected very often when we were young, very often in the harsh parenting or cruelty at school or resistance in society to meet a child's wild, messy, creatrix self, everything that got squashed. The longer we ignore the knocking on the door of the soul, the further into shadow. So the vibration of this rejected aspect or abandoned aspect falls and falls and falls until it can almost feel physical because its vibration is that low. So in my work, in my evidence, that is what a demon is. So when I work with clients and demons, only when the client is ready, if they can get into a space of receptivity, stillness, where the mind isn't coming in with all its fear and I don't do this and what the shit's going to happen here. And we invite this demon in. And what happens is that will come in like that. And if this sits still in willingness and receptivity and surrender, what will happen is the demon also comes into surrender. So the field aligns with itself, like two hearts aligning with themselves and recalibrating. And it nestles. And then that's just this beautiful breakdown into breakthrough. And a love so deep is reunited. It's reunited. Okay. So when we don't face our demons, our shadow self, we can get into complaining and codependency, and it's your fault. You made me feel like this. No, nobody can make you anything. You have to elect. You might elect unconsciously and mindlessly, but you're still making the choice to be in some kind of pain or disempowerment or paralysis. So if she's challenging that, then she's freeing herself from these destructive impulses. So, do you know, if I didn't know better, I'd say that he's going to come in now with a really strong container for her to kind of come back to life, to full vitality. Okay. Now, what else I've done is I've pulled 3 cards to put between the masculine and the feminine. So this is the conversation that joins them up. And the first card, oh, but it's all black, it's bad. See these? This is your gold dust. These are your nuggets of gold, and they're hidden in the black. You bring them in with you, but you've got to go down and rummage, got to get into the cellar and rummage. Trust in the magic. What does that mean? It means as these changes start to flow through the system, they are going to, again, it depends where you are on your journey. If your heart has been cracked open again and again and again, then it might not be as painful as if you're curious and beginning your journey. So if we take the polarity, so that's a pole with at one end pain and at another end ecstatic bliss. And where you are on your journey will relate to where you land, how you experience the rebirth in relationships. And if you find yourself in difficult conversations, just noticing how the mind wants to come in and get clever, conditional, heavily boundaried, owning that point. And what if you change that? Okay. What if you just don't talk? And what if you just let the body feel what's happening? Soma, so I work somatically, body as distinct from the mind. Mind cannot process emotion. Body knows exactly what to do. If we just shut the fudge up and let it happen, the body will move itself into self-healing. This is the trust in the magic, trust in what you can't see. Maybe drop the roadmap for every relationship you've ever known, unless they've all been truly wonderful. If they have all been truly wonderful, I want to hear from you. Okay, archetype, middle conversation. I think we had this one recently. That's liberation, the liberator. So freedom and freeing ourselves. This is elective work, okay? This isn't going to happen in some magical unicorn way where it comes in and sweeps through. It's going to happen because the energy will come into the physical, and it will come in through the emotional body, through the sensory body. And the last gateway is the physical. So it needs to come out. This is where you have to pick it up, own it, change the conversation, point the mind in a different direction. This is the chiropractic. Keep pointing the mind in a different, no, I want to go that way. I want to go towards my goddess. I want to go towards my God self. And eventually the mind will build, the brain will build the neuroconnector to take you straight to that new map. But we have to stay in the chaos of building the new map. It has to be a physical thing. Sometimes in difficult conversations, if you have the courage to shut up and bring all of your awareness into the body will tell you what to do. And it might be that you just want to kind of reach out and touch somebody. It's just a really simple thing. And that will take you both into this beautiful expression of vulnerability and openness. This energy is just going to crack the heart. That's what I've witnessed this week. It's going to crack the heart open again and again and again until we're ready to drop the bullshit of what we call love. It isn't love. It isn't love. It's shallow in the main. And the middle conversation. Oh, sorry. Right. Yes, do it properly. Back to Venus, the feminine, who's challenging saboteur, vampire, and exorcist. And her question is, are my feelings in alignment with my behavior? This is the essence of what I was just saying. That's probably why it's just taken me back. It's the essence of what I was just saying. I can be talking a good fight. People talk a good fight. What are you feeling? I think it was last month I was working with a client and I asked the same question 5 times before I could get them into their body. How does that feel? Well, I think I want and I think are the death of love. Are my feelings in alignment with my behavior? So our behavior might be point winning, arrogant, fearful, defensive, judgmental. But actually what we might be feeling inside could be very, very different. So when we keep bringing our awareness back into the body through the breath. So when the mind goes, I'm noisy and I'm clever, bring the mind back to the breath and carry on with your day. And as you keep bringing your energy in, the mind will want to take you out into 15 different things to keep you busy and important. Sorry, the light isn't very good today. Keep bringing the mind back to the breath. This will drop you into your body so you can start coming into truth and alignment with how you're feeling. Okay, the center conversation. Wow. Who are we without our burdens? And this is going to question traditional roles in a relationship. You'll know what they are. I'm not going to name them, but the traditional role of a woman, the traditional role of a man, and what if we can transcend those stereotype archetypes and be something different? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, where do I go from here? Surrender. Let's do some surrender cards. I'm not sure there's anything else I need to talk about. Stop it. Lol. Surrender to the wisdom of your body. We can't keep talking about passion if we're not willing to feel it. If we fear the danger of passion, because passion can take us right to the edges of our world where it feels dangerous and volcanic. That's powerful sexual expression. And when you learn to harness that energy, that's where the magic happens. Got it. That's where the magic happens. Okay, try this. When you're in the vicinity of another human being, whoever that human being is, listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. Okay, yeah. So often when I used to work in the corporate world, I would hear somebody say, I'd say, how did your meeting go or something? Oh, I didn't like them. From the minute I met them, I didn't like them. Why not? Don't know. Now, in that moment, had they dropped all of their energy into their body, they'd have been able to gain a wisdom. Because very often that instant dislike is a soul mirror. We're looking straight into something that we haven't owned, that we haven't yet taken possession of and integrated. We're looking straight into the face of our shadow very often. And it's there, they'll have had it in the gut instinct, but it's not about like or dislike, it's about what am I willing to look at and what am I not willing to look at. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. Body is the blueprint. Body is the power station. Surrender to the wisdom of your body. I can hardly believe it. All right. Are there any other? Just because I picked the deck up. Yes. Defensiveness. Defensiveness can kill a relationship, Dad. Can stop you learning. It can stop you being a student of life, turn you into a real know-it-all. But it's coming from it's because you're manifesting from a place of woundedness and powerlessness, maybe even paralysis. On my website, it says, listen and silent contain the same letters. So if someone's kicking off at you, or even having a very intimate conversation with you, again, pain, ecstasy, how you meet it is going to dictate, obviously, how it plays out. So when you listen, Bear with me. You must be in silence to be able to hear the heart of another. When you're in silence, hold space for that you don't yet know. Your mind might want to pull you into the conversation, to have an opinion about it, to be defensive because you think it's aimed at you. It's their story. They're telling their story. It might be coming out in a projecting way. You made me feel this because of you. Again, the material content might still be in the same conversation. The opportunity to elevate the conversation is all over the radar at the moment. You absolutely can conjure a higher love, a higher love. One of the things I used to teach was how to have a better row. So if you don't row, you're not in your passion. If you don't break some shit, you're not in your passion. And if it helps, one statement, there are quite a few, but the one that really, really works is, what I heard you say was, okay. And if this can be used between person A and person B, if you come into conflict with somebody, what I heard, stay calm and centered. What I heard you say was, and then repeat verbatim. Now, verbatim isn't your take on it, isn't anything to do with your assumptions or your feelings. Verbatim. That's what I heard you say. Have I mirrored that back to you appropriately? Yes, all I need to do is feel heard. And then you go, what I heard you say was, and that's it. Different way of doing it. Okay. Trying to give you some tools, because we are all planets forward now for 3 months, nearest damn it. And the energy, well, it's going to ramp. It's ramping. It's ramping. There's lots of fire, lots and lots of fire energy. Okay. Abundance card. Is there anything else that wants to come out? Aquarius. 33. It's angelic. There is giving in receiving and receiving in giving. That's gorgeous. Sharing. Wow. I'm not going to talk too deeply into these, but we have repair. Now, there's a lovely archetype here of a traditional couple, both working on the same thing. Renewal. I want to say of nature-based love, natural, just natural love, not false or pretty. Oh, that's beautiful. What I want to say with this is kind of to no longer have to tame that kind of beauty, whatever gender you identify with. And this isn't gender, this is creator energies, but to no longer have to hide that level of beauty in the world. Just to bring it. Gorgeous. Okay, let's wrap up with an abundance card. I don't really feel an urge to talk to the full moon in Leo, but yeah, that's it. That is it. Oh my heavens to Betsy. And that's it. Thank you for being here. I'm sending you loads of love. Hi. Happy full moon. Happy weekend. Find new ways to love. Or not. It's entirely up to you. Okay, you guys. I love you. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye.